So, first of all, I know we have a good number of new people who have either only seen us once or twice or never. And so I wanted to just take a moment to introduce ourselves. My name is Kirsten Leekman, and I'm here with my husband, Rennie Davis. And the question of what we do is always a somewhat challenging one because it's so broad. But really, when you boil it down, is we work with people who've been, on a spiritual journey, personal growth journey, and who understand that the way humanity has lived on Earth is culminating, let's say. We're basically running headlong into the consequences of how humanity has lived on Earth. And, everybody we work with understands that, and that they have a deep desire to help birth and midwife what is next. What is that next way in which humanity can live on Earth and thrive on Earth? So it's a new way of living and being on Earth. And they understand that in order to be able to make this kind of a leap, we have to change ourselves. And so we work with people who want to make a difference in the world. So it's conscious entrepreneurs, it's the artists, it's the educators, it's the corporate expats. It's basically people who have a vision of where we want to go, but need are lacking the details of the elements of how we truly can do this. How do we design a sustainable, thriving, loving, respectful world where we don't go to war with each other all the time, where we don't act like a wrecking ball through every ecosystem on the planet? How do we design that? And how do we change ourselves so dramatically make that change that changes the world? And for us, that is what we call waking up 100%. And that understands that humanity really is at the beginning of its evolutionary journey, and that we are just now waking up, which is a miracle in and of itself. It is such a beautiful progression of humanity. But it also requires the spiritual humility to understand that we are just at the beginning. Mm-hmm. And so the journey is to wake up 100% and to understand what that means. And from that new perspective, we can create the world that we want to live in, that sustainable, thriving, regenerative, beautiful world. And what we offer is, I was just thinking about how to say this, because it's like we offer a no fluff version of this. There is no fluff in this, because the people we work with, they want now speed of transformation. We've been doing this plodding along in evolution for a long time as a species, and really there is an urgency now, at least from a here and now perspective of what humanity is facing. There is somewhat of an urgency for the speed of transformation that we need to make. Now, looking at it from a grander scheme, from an unfolding of the universe, there is no urgency at all. All is truly in perfection. But if we want to see if we can make this change, then we need to have some more speed in the transformation. And so we have incredibly precise step-by-step tools, practices, understandings, and frequencies. And that's the topic of today in our meditations, that help you go from here to here in a much faster way than what our evolution up till now has been. So that is who we are. And we call people that have this vision the new humanity. That's, you've seen us talk about that and write about that. That's really who the new humanity is. They understand we have run up against the limits of how we are living on Earth and are seeing a different way of living on Earth. And they understand we have to change ourselves to make this change. So today is our monthly Hope 1111 project webinar. That's really what this is. And let me just briefly, for those of you who are new here, explain what that is. So we are building up to the date of 11/11, which for me, anytime I see 1/1, 1/11, 1/11, 1/11, anytime I see any iteration of that, it just gives me the feel good that I have trained myself to see 1111 as an all is well number. And I know there's a lot of numerology understanding around 11, and there's a lot of frequencies around the duplicates of one that we're writing on this as well. But for me personally, it's just my all is well number, and so my body loves to get my attention right at that moment. Look, it's 11/11. It's like, oh great, thank you. And so on 11/11 at 11/11 Mountain Time or 1/11 Eastern Time, we are going to do this very meditation that we are doing today. And our goal is to have 1 million people do this meditation. And hopefully after today, you'll have a deeper understanding of why this meditation is so profoundly powerful in not only transforming yourself and changing yourself, but acting as a catalyst for divine intervention. That when we come together to have this frequency go out into the world, we can actually make a change. So hopefully today you will get a deeper understanding of the power of this. And we're doing these monthly webinars like today because we need to practice. So you know, just like somebody can't go into the gym and say, you know, I wanna lift 100 pounds right away. You can't do that. You have to practice. You have to get your body used to the weights. You build up the weights, and then eventually you can lift 100 pounds, but you can't do that right off the bat. And it's the same with this. That's part of the misunderstandings about frequencies, is that, oh yeah, frequencies are just there and we can do them. No, actually, these frequencies are so high that your body can get pushed. And those of us who've been doing this work, including myself, I have been pushed by these frequencies. You know, my nervous system gets itchy and jumpy, and sometimes I can have pressure in the head. And it is because the nervous system hasn't dilated enough yet. And it hasn't been conditioned enough yet to let those frequencies flow through. So that's why we're doing these meditations monthly together, and we invite you to do the meditation on a regular basis, ideally daily, but at least once a week, so that when 11/11 comes, you're going to be one of the ones to really supercharge that moment. Because the more of us that are ready to do this, the more we will have an impact, a powerful impact. So that's what Project Hope 11/11 Project is about. And we use the Hope meditation as the framework for it. So, you know, as I've been preparing for this, I've done a lot of thinking and feeling into this theme of meditation. You know, it's science is now finally coming around to, oh yeah, maybe it is helpful to meditate, to quiet your brain, to calm yourself internally, maybe focus on your breathing, you know, and they've figured out that yes, it reduces stress, it calms you down, it can calm the brain chatter, it can help with sleep disorders. So there's a whole host of things that Science is now confirming what meditators, decades-long meditators, monks, sages, have known for a long, long time. And so, meditation is something that, is recommended in general, but we've needed an up level. If we're going to speed up our transformation, we've needed to up level. We've needed to find a game changer. And frequencies is that game changer. So, 10, 20 years ago when I first started, no, actually longer ago, now I'm dating myself, 30 years ago when I started meditating, oh my God, I mean, you probably, many of you can relate. If you can relate, let me know, give me a yes. It's like you sit down, you get quiet, and then literally within 5 minutes, the brain chatter. Did I turn the oven off? Oh my God, I don't remember turning the oven off. Oh, and I need to make sure that I put onto the list, the shopping list, that I need carrots today. And oh, did I email my friend? And right, planner ego, control ego, give me a yes if you know what I'm talking about. Where it's just a brain chatter, or just goes off on some random thing, and then the body gets fidgety. It's just like, oh no, I don't want to sit like this, and maybe you get a little cramp in your leg, and it's just like everything, basically goes downhill from there. And with 5 minutes, 10 minutes, it's like, I can't sit anymore. Okay, that was my meditation. That's how it used to be for me. It looks like, yep, some of you are having the same issue. Oh, yes. Yeah. And so really that went on until I was introduced to meditations that had specific embedded frequencies in them. That was my game changer. And basically that was when I met him, because he has a unique ability to embed frequencies into meditations. And so these frequencies that we've been now doing have these specific frequencies where you put in 128 hertz and you use that to relax your muscles. Then there's 64 hertz that dilates and relaxes the nervous system. That's what I was just talking about. We need to practice that. We need to get that nervous system to be able to dilate. Well, 64 hertz is that. 32 hertz relaxes the skeleton. What? Skeleton relax? Oh yeah. And when you get that, you will know. It's incredible. But then there are the higher frequencies, the frequencies to let you feel who you truly are, who you've always been, and who you now can choose to become. And oh my gosh, what a delicious, sweet, innocent, opening, nourishing frequency that is. Absolutely amazing. And these kinds of frequencies get you so present and so within yourself and calm, because they are a focal point for you to let your brain be quiet and your presence focused. That's the state of being you want to be in meditation. And I know there's some meditations that, want to take you out of your body. Let's get out of this thing and just go float in the universe. These meditations actually bring you home to who you are. And then that opens up a universe that is absolutely incredible. And so the frequency that we've embedded into this meditation, the pure electrical life in its purest form, is what did I call it? The superstar, superstar of meditations. And Rennie will, in a moment, he'll explain the whole world of frequencies a little bit more in a moment when I shut up. But there's one more thing I wanted to share, and this is, I'm looking at those of you who say, I don't feel anything. I can't feel frequencies for my life. Anybody here that knows what I'm talking about? I don't feel anything. People say they feel something. I don't feel anything. I was in that camp. And we have kind of an expression for that. We call it a thick membrane, and there's a whole rabbit hole explanation on why we're calling that, which we're not going to go into today, but just know thick membrane versus the thin membrane ones. They feel everything. They get buffeted around by all the energies out there, and they have visions and they hear things and all that. Those are the thin membrane ones. So I come from the thick membrane side of things. I remember one time, this was probably 20 years ago, where I was just begging, just give me something to experience, you know. I want to have a vision. I want to hear something internally. Yeah. Anybody know what I'm talking about? So I'm talking specifically to you. When you do these meditations with the frequencies over and over again, you start conditioning yourself to, let's call it thinning those membranes, and you will start feeling things. You will. I promise you. If I can start feeling things, you will start feeling things. It's again, it's a practicing. It's not something set in stone where if you never feel anything, you won't ever feel anything. It doesn't work that way. You can work it yourself to feel things. And then really, I mean, do you feel what a forest feels like? When you walk into a forest, can you feel the forest? Versus when you walk into, you know, downtown, I don't know, downtown New York City. Does that feel different to you than a forest? If your answer is yes, you feel frequencies. You hear that? You feel frequencies. It's just when it gets to the subtler realms, it takes a little practice to get into feeling frequencies. And that's all it is. It's practice and allowing yourself to expand into this world of subtlety that is absolutely a quantum world. And then you get to start practicing things like, you know, so I have this incredible stone. This is one of my speaking friends. Let's call this my talking stick, you know? And so, you know, I can hold this in my hand and start feeling the frequency of this stone. And then I set it aside, and then I pick up a different stone, and it feels differently. In fact, I'm wearing amethyst here. So the amethyst would feel differently than the serpent stone. And so you can start practicing and letting yourself enter into that world. One of my favorite authors, Harold Booner, in this book called Plant Intelligence and the Imaginal Realm, he calls it opening the gates of perception. Open your gates of perception to the subtle worlds, and you will find a magical kingdom, really. So I will let you talk now.
That was nice.
So
nice.
Basically what Rennie's going to do is, before we start the meditation, he's going to just explain the world of frequencies a little bit. So he's going to get a little technical now. So just bear with us, because as I said, this is no fluff work. So precise understandings, precision. So he's just going to talk about frequencies and their role in future healing, future thriving. I mean, just think about it. 150 years ago, people said, we can't see bacteria, we can't see viruses, they don't exist, therefore. Right? That's what it was. Nobody wanted to wash their hands because, oh, yeah, right, little things that are crawling around on us that we can't see that are making us sick. Ha, 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 that's so funny. You know, now we know different. Frequencies, the way we hold frequencies right now, so our science doesn't really know how to measure it. And so they don't exist. They are not real. Funny, ha, ha, ha. Well, this is your opportunity to say, no, actually, this is the opportunity to step into a whole new world that is going to open up to healing and thriving and helping the world really to heal as well, the earth. So With that, here is my lovely husband, Benny Davis.
That's everybody. Where to begin? Well, once upon a time, a long time ago, I was a political activist. I think some of you know that. I was one of the Chicago Seven. I organized the largest civil disobedience arrest in American history. When John Lennon decided to come into the anti-war movement in 1971, he decided he wanted to hook up with me to see how to plug in. And so I wound up spending quite a bit of time. We planned a 42 city tour that was going to end at the Republican convention with 1 million people. We actually did do one event, and then, the Nixon administration came down with all fours, and he started to be deported because of his connection with us, I guess. Anyway, I want to start with that because it was actually John Lennon that introduced me to the idea of meditation. And I wasn't really much into, I love John, and it wasn't that I was going to be in disrespect, but the idea that meditation could have any influence in the world, change anything, was a little far-fetched for me. But I started meditation, with John Lennon. And I made a trip to India, and there was a young teacher, he was 15 years old. He taught me a meditation. That one kind of turned my whole body into light, so it got my attention. And and then I went on, and I basically, what I want to share today really came from a meditation retreat that I went on. It was really just an idea of going and visiting the Grand Canyon with a couple of friends for 5 days. And I got into the canyon, and when the 5 days were up, I really wasn't able to leave. I knew I had to stay, so I know the 5 weeks turned into 4 years, basically. So it was a long meditation retreat. It doesn't, I came and went and got supplies, but I lived by myself in solitude for a long period of time. And it was in that period that I discovered that as an adult, I really had spent my whole life in my brain. It wasn't that I didn't see things in front of me. Someone, I could see, here comes somebody, and here's what's happening in the room I'm in, and I'm walking down the street now. But where I was in my brain. And so if you really think about all meditations across the board and what they're really doing, they're assisting people to just, even for a moment, stop thinking. Just stop thinking, get out of the brain and into the present. Just be here, right here. And it sounds easy, it sounds simple, but it's one of the greatest challenges. We are so wedded to our brain that, just like Kirsten said, as soon as you start to do that, the brain fires up and, you just almost feel you have no control over it. And so how do you basically discover the next phase of evolution? You have to quiet the brain. That the brain is not the answer. There is a knowingness that's inherent to us, and the knowingness can tell you everything that's right around the corner, but it's not the brain. It's something else. It's something else going on. So, these monks that Kirsten talked about, they go off to the caves and they sit, there's not 4 years, and they'll sit there for 20 years or 30 years. It's pretty impressive. And they're trying to answer the question, who am I, perhaps? And so it actually turns out that the answer to who am I is in our genetics. If you once in the future, the human race will actually discover our genetics and all the incredible data that it holds. And the design of the human being shows that there's actually two intelligent entities, beings, I don't know what word to call it, that have been with us since the dawn of our existence. And this is actually who we are when we're ready to choose it. And so really the path, And very few people ever do. I mean, maybe that monk in the cave for 30 years makes, touches that place. It's a place of awe and wonder. I mean, I don't know what to say. It's a place of so much beauty. And this is actually who you are for real. So in our work, what we're wanting to do is to step into who we are. And what we've discovered is that if you could go to that monk, let's just say he has, I'm using the word authentic self as who I am, okay, that the answer to that question. So let's say this 30-year monk has actually touched his authentic self, and he's in a state of awe and wonder, really. Okay, here's the deal. He is emanating a frequency. I mean, truly, he is. Yes, it's subtle. And yes, there's no technology right now that can record it except one thing, and that's the human body. The human body records frequencies perfectly. And this was a discovery that I made at the bottom of the Grand Canyon. I realized that if you could, let's say you have an objective in your spiritual work to reach a certain state of being, and you have the ability to access the frequency of that state of being, like I am in my authentic self now. I mean, imagine if you had the frequency of your authentic self. I mean, virtually no one in history has ever touched their authentic self. But if you knew the frequency, and then you could record it into a meditation. So yeah, maybe there's music, maybe there's a voice guiding you along to relax and get ready for the event of an event of awe and wonder, but the frequency of your authentic self is basically flowing into you, whether you're aware of it or not, it is, and the body is recording it. That's the thing. The body's recording it exactly. So now you have it yourself. And so now you can say, I'm accessing the frequency of my authentic self now, and your body will literally broadcast this frequency into you. And now you have a completely new tool in the meditation world. You have a tool that is so valuable and so precious because it basically accelerates this whole, rather than take 30 years in the cave, now you can actually experience your authentic self really in a week, or maybe even the first time. Now, it doesn't mean it's the end of the day of the brain. The brain is just freaking out. This is such a gigantic step, and the brain comes in. Then you have all these egos trying to talk you out of it. And so I'm not saying changing yourself is easy. I'm just saying that frequencies, when they're precise, okay, are a game changer. They really are. And here we're precise. Now, I've been exposed to many people doing, beautiful work, and they work with frequencies. And everybody's doing the best they can. I'm not a critic of anybody, but I also understand. If you were to say take one of our meditations, like Kirsten is saying, and you come to a place in the meditation that says, okay, now we're opening and dilating our central nervous system, and here's a frequency that's going to support you to open and dilate your central nervous system. Okay, now that's on the Hertz scale. It's not a subtle energy at all. It's in the audible range. There's actually technology that can measure, and it's available. You could get an instrument yourself and put it right up next to our meditation and just say, well, let's see, is this frequency 64 Hertz? And what I'm saying is that a lot of people do meditation work and might even do something like this. They'll come in at 60 Hertz. Our frequency will not be 60 Hertz or 63 Hertz or 65 Hertz. It's going to be 64 Hertz every time. And that's because the body's recorded it perfectly and we do it exactly. And it's not that we're important. It's just like precision is a big deal. It's a very big deal. So that's what we're doing here. We're introducing a level, a science of frequencies, a level of exactness with frequencies. When we say, here's the frequency for your authentic self, it actually really is. It's who you've always been since the dawn of your existence. And suddenly your body is recording it. And now as you work with it, you know, thick membrane and all, you find yourself, oh my God, you know, this is like, this is beautiful, you know, and you realize that there really is a beauty inside yourself that can be accelerated and accent and enhanced by the frequency of beauty. So that is basically the idea. It's also an incredible thing too. We find that there's one of the reasons that the brain just keeps going off no matter what, you know, and this is such a challenging thing, is because over the eons, we've just created these immense contaminants to beauty. And we have so much resistance and the need to control and the need to hold on to things for dear life, you know. I mean, when you know, everything that's a problem in the world is basically coming from an identity that we've created and believed into existence. You know, I mean, so we have fear egos, and we have pain egos, and we have poor me egos, and we have martyr egos, and we have Roddy righteous egos, and they just go on and on. So we need, you know, with the help of frequencies, a way to remove our entire residual self-image, everything that we believed into existence, and then dissolve all of the contaminants, okay, and all of the resistances that are just emotional memories that are in our cellular level, and we have frequencies to do that. One of the really momentous discoveries that has been made in our world, okay, is you know, I mean, we're in a time of the planet's enveloping. Everyone is enveloped by fear. And we're at the beginning of this. This is not going to just all be a bright star at the end of the year. You know, this is a gigantic tunnel we're going down, you know. And so imagine that there was an energy that no matter how much you compressed it, you could never compress it into fear. You couldn't compress it into anything. It just was impervious to fear. And it was the most pristine, complete purity, total purity, super purity in our galaxy. And it had never been in the world before. And so now it's come into the world. We've been able to bring it into the world at this time of darkness. We right now are balancing the fear of the whole planet with we have a band circling the globe. It's 25 miles roughly in width. It's right next to the stratosphere, circles the whole planet, and it's impervious to fear and is balancing the fear. So the fear is building up, but we're doing divine intervention ourselves, okay, with this. And this is all explained in the whole meditation. And the frequency that I'm shouting for joy about, okay, is embedded in that recording. You know, I mean, a lot of people listen to the meditations, wow, this is so beautiful. It's so nicely produced. I love the music, you know, and still really not quite grasp what it is that's in this. This is a transforming frequency that cleans out the contaminants and the emotional debris that is basically restricting you and controlling you and not letting you really soar. And it's embedded in a whole meditation. I mean, if you have never tried this, just stick around a little bit longer. We're about to play it, so you can hear. You know, it belongs to you. I mean, once your body hears it, your body has the frequency anyway recorded perfectly. You can return to it over and over and over again. Imagine if you were a human being living in an age of pandemics, okay, where the whole world was collapsing and civilization was unwinding, kind of similar to what happened to the Roman Empire, and you happen to have a frequency inside yourself impervious to fear. I mean, really, I mean, that would be quite a gift to give yourself. And so that's really our invitation today, to give a gift to yourself, and to realize that the gift is really a notch up in the entire world of meditations. It's to basically consciously understand that if you want to go from A to B, B has a frequency. And if you can know what that frequency is and basically embed it into yourself, it will basically make your journey from A to B, not 30 years, but a week. That's the idea. And so, yeah, so maybe that's good enough for now.
Well, I would love to give people a little experience before we go into the meditation, and some of you will experience this and some of you may not yet, and it's okay, but I want you to see if you can start tuning in to frequencies. So,
Okay,
so we wanted to give you a little bit of an example of that using appreciation, basically.
Yeah. So appreciation is one of those things that we all know about or think we do. But what we've discovered is that if you could hold appreciation for everything and everyone continuously, let's say for a week solid, it actually affects a master hormone in the body. And that hormone starts to produce any feel-good chemistry that's missing in your body. That includes serotonin, dopamine, endorphins, all the feel-good chemistries that are just, life itself. But when you're in life itself and your body chemistry reflects that, you're not flatlined, you're not depressed, you're in an ecstatic state. It's really beautiful. So being able to just step into appreciation and gratitude, on a dime, anytime you want, is really a powerful thing to give yourself. And so one of the ways to do that is to go from A to B. So we're in how are you doing right now? Okay, not bad. Yeah, so. A little flatlined. Okay, let's go to B, appreciation and gratitude. Intensely, though. Really, the feeling of appreciation just filling every cell of your body. Okay, so one way to do that is with the power of your perception. You just see yourself in appreciation. It is your superpower. It is a way to change your body chemistry. You can change your whole life with your perception. But going from A to B with perception, it has an issue of time. It does. But if you have the frequency of B, if you have the frequency of appreciation embedded in your body, recorded perfectly, because your body can do it, then as you go from A to B, I'm stepping into appreciation now. I'm bringing up the frequency of appreciation in me now. And yes, it's subtle, but after a while, it hits you on the head. It's not so subtle at all. So what we're going to do is do a little exercise here where I'm going to basically connect all of you. I have a sensory perception that you have too. I emit airborne hormones out of my skin, and they form a circuit. And I connect my circuit from my heart to your solar plexus. And if you're hearing my voice, I know right where you are. And so, and you can do the same thing. You already do it unconsciously. I just do it in a completely conscious way. So now most of us want to connect heart to heart. We're new age, we're spiritual, we want to open our hearts. From the design point of view of the body, that is really not the best wisdom. Heart to heart is a two-way electromagnetic conductor. That means you're going to pick up other people's stuff when you connect heart to heart. So what you want to do is connect from your heart to the other person's solar plexus. And I'm connecting right now to every one of you. And that's you say no, and then I won't. Okay, and so now we're all connected. And now what you're going to do is just let yourself feel appreciation. Just go ahead and, give it your best shot. I'm feeling appreciation now. Okay. And you're just opening up to, you can have a child or a redwood tree or something in your memory that engendered appreciation. So this is the power of perception. You can definitely bring in appreciation with your perception. Okay, but now what we're going to do is I'm going to send you the actual frequency of appreciation and gratitude. Now this is frequencies come in octaves, as you can imagine. Picture on a piano, middle C, and then C up above, and then another one up above. So we're going way up above, but it's still the frequency of appreciation, a very high frequency. And you may or may not feel anything, but your body will record this frequency perfectly. And the frequency of complete appreciation, total appreciation, the frequency of appreciation is flowing into your solar plexus, feeling brain now. Okay. Now that frequency is just right on the edge of awe and wonder, really. And whether you felt anything or not, I mean, we'd love to hear from you. If any of you did experience anything, let us know, and we can even chat a little bit about it. But the point is that even whatever you felt, you have it. It's in your body's memory. And so the practice then becomes accessing the frequency of appreciation now. That's your access code. And you just keep accessing it anytime you want to step into appreciation. I'm accessing the frequency of appreciation now. And your body's going to broadcast this frequency. And it's going to help you move more on an accelerated basis from your A to your B. That's what it's going to do.
Yeah, pop in the chat what you experienced, that if you could feel it or something else. So Kimberly just said, I felt pain in my chest. So one of the things that can happen is that the resistance to the frequency can show up immediately, and it can manifest itself in, as you said, a pain in the chest. So you want to be gentle with these frequencies. They are so subtle that we dismiss them and their power, when in fact they are incredibly powerful. So it's okay to back off when you have, like, even when we do the meditation, if the energy becomes too intense, go ahead and just back off. And you can do it yourself. It's like, I'm just pulling back a little bit on the intensity of this. Is there anything else?
Yeah, there is an ego that is in resistance to appreciation, because it's an ego that it's a control ego, and that basically the whole subject matter is threatening to its control. And that doesn't mean you've done anything wrong. We all have the same things, it's not a really big deal. The way to deal with it, if you want to edit it out, is just, what you want to do is realize that you had a reaction in you. That's the first thing, so this pain that in the chest was a reaction in you. It was. And so there's nothing wrong. You're not judging it in any way. You just step outside of yourself, turn around and look at this, and you let I feel pain in my chest. Just kind of matter of fact. You're not upset. There's nothing wrong, and now give it a name. Oh, there's my control ego, or whatever comes into you. That's what we see, control ego. So give it a name. And now, because you looked at it through by notice and observe rather than reacting to it or feeling the pain or letting yourself go down that road. You're just independent of it, but you see it, now you have control over it. It's your creation, nothing wrong with that, but now once you have control over it, now you can edit it. So now you can remove it. You can, you can send it off with your dream body. You can put it in a genetic archive where you can always return to see how you did it through history. But, it's no longer, controlling you at all. Now, the big question I would have if this happened to me, I had a pain in my chest when the frequency came in, was did the main gift, the gift of appreciation, was that distorted in any way? Did I distort the body's recording of appreciation? And the answer clearly is no, you did not. You did not at all. That appreciation frequency is absolutely recorded perfectly in you. And so just do your best to trust that and know that, because if you want to go into appreciation, you can just say, I'm accessing the frequency of appreciation now, and your body won't broadcast the pain. It's going to broadcast the same exact frequency to you again. And you do have it. So with time and with practice, watch and see. It's beautiful.
So here's a really wonderful way to practice, and I would suggest that you do this at least once a day, if not like 3 times a day, like morning, noon, and in the evening. Pick something in your immediate environment, be it a plant or a bird outside or a tree or something that catches your attention. And if you need to, set a timer for 3 minutes. And now you put your entire focus on that object and you caress it with your eyes and appreciate every nuance of it. If it's a bird, you just see the feathers and just you appreciate the beauty of this being that has gifted you with its presence. And you literally take 3 minutes of just complete focus with appreciation. That alone is going to change your world, because that is going to start changing the body chemistry in your body, as Rennie has said, and it's going to start shifting your day more and more, where you're training yourself not to immediately see the drama around and see the reactions around and the anger and the hurt and the unworthiness, but appreciation, always coming back to appreciation, and it's going to change you dramatically. It's a powerful practice. It seems like quite a few people felt that increased joy, quieting of mental activity, dropped into deep peace with more solitude, like a solitude, a quieting, a buoyancy of energy. So people that tingly. And one person actually had a little numbness in the upper arms and ears.
Mm. Yeah, it's just that the frequency was very, very high frequency, and it came through the electrical system of the body, your body, and where the electrical system is not fully dilated and open, it can create some sense of tingling, so you might even scratch yourself a little bit, it just makes
that's my problem.
Yeah, these high frequencies, really, you want that nervous system open and dilated. When we do the meditation we're about to do, there's a specific focus on opening and dilating the central nervous system. It's a very big deal. And so it's just a practice. You're fine, nothing worried about at all, but that's what it is. And so that would be a suggestion for you to really focus on dilating that central nervous system. The frequency is 64 hertz, and it is completely embedded and very clear. I mean, you can hear it audibly in this recording of the Hope meditation. It's really beautiful.
Olivia just said she's feeling a warming of the feet, which is
Yeah,
something she's never experienced
yeah,
doing the whole meditation.
yeah.
So one of the things that I'd like you to address that came up earlier from Carla, that something that you are very familiar with these high frequencies, and that is she's had restless leg syndrome, and doing the meditation, the first time she did it on her own, it caused her legs to go
Yeah.
restless.
Yeah, we sometimes feel we need more disclosure, footnotes and things like
We're
that.
taught we say
Yeah,
speed, right? But speed comes a little bit with pressure.
right, yeah. There's nothing dangerous, or it's not going to harm you, but that again is the central nervous system. It has to open and dilate for these high frequencies. And quite honestly, when you get into stress and worry, what happens? Your central nervous system contracts and basically gets tight, and that's what happens. And so these high frequencies kind of can be felt, in the body. Restless legs would be an example. Scratching, just sort of tingling here and there.
Sometimes a couple little bumps show up in
Yeah,
the itch
right.
area for me. That used to be the case. I don't
Yeah.
have that anymore. But
And the best solution is do more. That's really the answer. The more that your body gets used to these frequencies, the body loves these frequencies, and so there's times when you back off a little bit to give everybody a breather, but basically, if you love your body as you do these meditations with frequency laden, information, the body is going to basically relax and feel safe and comfortable. And when it does, it's just, you're on a journey to beauty. You really are. The thing about the meditation that we just did, the appreciation communication, was how rich it was on the edge of awe and wonder. If you're a human being that would love to see a future for the human race and see a new human being emerge on the planet, and you want to be part of that, those are the pioneers of the future of humanity, and they are just like all of us. They struggle with the same issues. I need to control. I need to worry and fret. I can't shut my brain off. We all have the same exact thing. But the pathway out of the current we say humanity is waking up, it's around 5% awake. And Kirsten's saying, well, let's wake up 100%. Well, that's never happened in any generation. We'd be the first, critical mass of people to be able to do that. Can we do it? We really can. And the way we're going to do it is basically by infusing ourselves with awe and wonder. I mean, everything, it's not just the plant and the leaf. I mean, it's everything. It's just awe and wonder. You walk outside. I mean, take a moment after we're done and just look at a blade of grass. A blade of grass is the greatest reason for awe and wonder that you could possibly find. And it's right beneath your feet. There you are, just, but if you're in your brain, you won't notice. So you got to quiet the brain and be present and just look, okay? And how can you do that? Create a blade of grass? I mean, that is really impressive, So how does a blade of grass get created is a question that could be answered by you by being present in awe and wonder. And that's why awe and wonder is not like where you tune out and don't know anything anymore. You actually uncover the mysteries of life. The whole universe is brimming with information. I mean, you open your eyes when you're in awe and wonder, and the room that you're in that seems kind of boring and just junky all over the place. The paint is just jumping out, and the whole place is alive, and it's just like, it's incredible. I mean, you just transform the entire world around you when you're in awe and wonder. And so that's really the pathway home.
It was the cutest thing when Rennie first started bringing this piece in, this was not too long ago. I mean, this is fairly new, this feeling into the frequency of awe and wonder. And he gets up in the morning and he's like, I was up last night and I mean, I looked at this wall and it was just amazing. It just became alive. And then this thing, and it became it was the cutest damn thing in the world. It really was. So, it is, I mean, I'm starting to practice it myself, and I haven't gotten to that place yet where a wall is full of awe and wonder, but hey, I know he's experienced it. Yeah, it's interesting. Rudra just made a comment about humanity can hear frequencies up to 21,000 hertz. And my guess is talking about, so some of you may hear frequencies in the ears in various octaves. I mean, for me, what's been happening is it's like almost like somebody takes a very, very high tuning fork, let's say in the 6,000 range, and dings it in my ear. And it is pretty amazing when that happens. All of a sudden I'll be doing something and all of a sudden there's a ding. So you may be experiencing frequencies in all kinds of different ways.
Yeah, if you're into this subject, it's great to join forces with us, because here you get answers to your questions about frequencies, and that's really valuable. I mean, it really is. I mean, a lot of people start to have a like she was saying, a ringing in your ears. I mean, there's a sound that you start to generate very similar to a planet in space. NASA has recorded, the sound of the Earth, the sound of Jupiter, and they're different. They're different sounds, but they're beautiful. I mean, they're amazing. Well, a human being can do the same thing. And as you work with these frequencies, that you start generating a frequency yourself that you start to hear. And so many, and then you think, well, I must have this medical problem in my ear. It really isn't. It's actually quite spectacular, and it just reminds you of who you really are. So so bring your questions here, with frequencies of any kind, and I mean, it's a whole world. It really is, and it's very enriching and enhancing if you're truly on a journey to evolve.
So where this conversation can continue, if you haven't yet joined at the moment it's still called Vote Hope 2020 Facebook page. As you can tell, we are shifting to Hope 1111 project, so bear with us as we're doing that shift. But if you find the Vote Hope 2020 Facebook page, that is where everybody who's doing this meditation on a regular basis in preparation for the 1111 global meditation, that's where we can have these conversations and ask those kinds of questions. So, and if you want to know more about the project, it's again at ffh.org/hope1111, and Lakita will put that in here as well. One of the things that he does in these group meditations is he amplifies the experience. So many of you experienced the appreciation frequency coming through. So his role in these global meditations is to amplify the frequency of electrical life in its purest form for you. So that's why attending in person is so valuable. You get the extra juju. So you ready with that?
Yep.
Okay. I hope that with the new understanding that you had from what we were talking about earlier with frequencies, that you let yourself open up in a different way to the frequency this time and experienced it in a deeper and different way. So I just popped in the URL again to where you can learn more about the Hope 1111 project. And as you know, we're trying to get 1 million people to come together to do this meditation together on November 11th. So we need your help to spread the word. So just give them that link so that they can access the meditation themselves. And our schedule for the monthly webinars, we thought we were being very clever with this. The next one is going to be on June 6th, so 6/6, and the next one is going to be on 7/7. The next one is 8/8, 9/9, 10/10, and then 11/11. How clever is that? So just make sure that you have those on your calendar. So you go into the website, once you've signed up for the meditation, you get into the back end of the Hope Project, and there is the schedule. And, you'll get emails from me as well reminding you. But anyway, so yeah, share this with anybody you think might be interested in using the power of frequencies to help balance the fear in the world and help them transform themselves. With that, I wish you all an incredible rest of the day. Stay in this frequency as long as you can. Just keep focusing in on it. Keep your focus and presence with it, and that'll keep it alive. The moment you start thinking, it'll start fading away. If you can stay here, it'll stay with you. So, and hopefully you'll be in the Facebook page, and any questions that popped up, put them there. We're in there, and we can answer any questions and have a great conversation there. So I'm wishing you all much, much love, lots of life, pure electrical life flowing right through you, and we will see you latest in a few weeks. This next one is actually going to be a few weeks, so 6/6. So put that in your calendars. All right, everybody, take care. Bye.